Hello, my lovely friends. My name is Tanya King, and today, if you watch this video, you're going to learn how to do this beautiful daytime glam makeup look. It is reading, soft, casual, even natural Pontiac vibes. Yeah, that's right. That's what we're going to do today. We're going to do soft, natural Pontiac vibes. So if you're interested in seeing how I did this, please strap in, and I'm going to show you just how in just a second. So to start, I'm going to use my Smashbox Photo Finish primer here to lay my base for my makeup. I'm going to apply it to the back of the hand, just a little bit like that. Focus on the cheeks, the sides of the nose, and the forehead. Next up, I'm going to apply my concealer. I'm using the Tarte Shape Tape Concealer, and my shade is Fair Light Neutral. And you're gonna get kind of your problematic areas under your eyes like that. I like to get inside the eye right here, near the eye socket, and right underneath the outer eye right there. I like to get the top of my lip, like that, frame the bottom of my lip, head up the chin, and then get the forehead, and then with the excess, get a little bit in the crease of my eyes, just like that. And it looks a little bit weird and freaky, and that's how makeup usually starts. It usually looks a little bit weird and freaky. And with a beauty blender, I like to use a pointed tip. I like to blend, blend, just like that, and blend up kind of in this diagonal shape like that. Blend into the side of the nose, get into the eye socket, blend into the crease of the eye like so, blend down the sides of the nose, up in the bridge, and up here in the forehead. Make sure that you completely blend it out, and you use these shapes, right? Kind of like this catty V shape up here for the cheeks, the shape of the lips, and of course, forehead. Focus on like this setting sun shape. Next up, I'm going to contour my face. I like to use a bit of cream contouring. This one is by Makeup by Mario. It is in the shade medium dark. And what I like to do is I take the tube and I take this contouring brush. This one's from MAC. And you just kind of dip it in the top like that. Then you hit up your dark areas. These are usually at the corner of the face. So, and again, you're following the same V shape. This is going to be below your concealer. You're going to imagine from this spot right here, an imaginary line that connects essentially the top of the ear up here to the outer corner of your mouth. But you're not going to draw the entire way. You're only going to draw it part way. I like to stop it right about the outside of my iris. That way, we can do some more blending with more beauty blenders. For the forehead, I like to imagine, again, another imaginary line from the outer corner of your eye up you're kind of linking up here, right? Outer corner of the nose connects to the outer corner of the eye. And if it extends, it would look like that. I like to bring up a bit of contouring. Not completely into the eye, but just partly. Just like so. You contour your temples of your forehead. Kind of like that. Do the same on the opposite side. And again, you kind of contour like in a setting sun kind of motion, like so. I like to take a bit, go right underneath the outer corner of the jaw right there, blend it down. I don't like to extend it too far underneath my jaw. I don't want it to look too heavy. This is supposed to be a little bit nice, a little bit light and girly. And dare I say, just a little bit natural. And for a nose contouring, I like to take kind of a brush like this. And I'm gonna go back to my tube here of cream contouring. I'm just gonna dip it in, just lightly like that. And I'm gonna start, again, with another one of those V shapes that we've been talking about earlier. Kind of go like that. Imagine that you're kind of framing the ball of your nose, but you're not completing it. I don't want it to look too heavy, just framing it slightly. So again, another V shape, but you're not connecting it in the middle. And if you remember, we put a lot of concealer. Then you're going to draw another one of those V shapes. This is called a train track. Right, so you have two lines like that are mirroring each other, but they diverge, kind of like a little bit of a V. And then I like to take some, go right into the nostril, a little bit like that. And now we're going to use this beauty blender. I like to use the pointy tip, and this is how I diffuse the contouring as I start blending it. So I start from the outer corner. Again, this is the darkest corner, and slowly making my way towards the middle of the face. And the way that the contouring doesn't look so heavy and ponderous is if you don't really use a lot of it near the middle of your face. That, you know, it's the star of the show. You want it to shine. Blend it into the forehead. And again with the jaw, you blend down, just like so. Into the neck, slightly towards the chin. And then we're going to go to the nose, just to give a bit more clarity. Just light little dabs. You pull it, contouring kind of into the side of the nose, just like that. And this is why I like to use the tip of the beauty blender, because you can really get in to where you need to be accurate. And get the nostrils as well. Just make it look nice and tidy from here on in. The next step I like to do is a little bit of cream pot concealer. And this one is by NARS, and it is in the shade Chantilly. I like to take essentially a concealer brush like this, and I dip it in to the pot, just a little bit. And again, we're going to draw another one of those V shapes. This one is upside down. This one can be a little bit muddied a little bit. Just like so. Highlight the ridge of the nose. Kind of like that. You bring it up, widen it along with the shape of the contouring, and you fan it out into your sinus and your brow, just like so. And while we're here, this is also a very good base that I like to use for eyes. So I'm gonna go right down here and start to highlight underneath the brow bone, just like that. I want to focus right here where my forehead is a little bit heavier. Then I bring it in to the inner corner of the eye like that. And I blend it out gently towards the outer corner of the eye. Somewhat like that. And while we're here, if you remember the beauty blender from earlier, this is it right here. This is the one we use for the concealer. We can use the big buffer in, kind of diffuse the highlighting that's on the nose. Blend it up into the forehead. And go into the eye and blend it up and out like so. Next up is the eyes. They're zoomed in nice and tight around my eye here. I'm going to start by mapping out my brows. I like to draw down here from the base and I pull up. Again, we like to focus on a series of V shapes. That's how I do it. It's a nice and feminine, almost like a catty shape. Like a cat eye. Fill in the base a little bit until you get to the desired effect. Then you're going to take the spoolie over here and you're going to work it in like so. And just blend it into the hairs while following the natural shape of your brows. Kind of like that. For the eyeshadow, I like to start in by mapping out some of my shapes, and we're going to use this palette over here. This is the Morphe Nude Ambitions palette. It's one of my favorites. It's a very good neutral palette, very versatile. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use a small detail brush like this. You see how it's nice and packed and thin and straight? We're going to use that to pick up some black and map out my shape here. And again, if you remember the contouring from earlier, start out an imaginary line, from the outside of the nose to the outside of the eyes, and you would just continue that. Sometimes putting a brush against your face is a really good guide to help you along your way. This is kind of how I like to get a cat eye. Just like so. The next step is I like to take a brush like this. This is called a pencil brush. I like to take a good transition shade to essentially define the outer corner of the eye. We're going to use that as a base too for our crease. And I think today, my color is going to be that one. So I like to go over the darkest spots, kind of like that. And I like to frame the eye a little bit like that, you see. This works really well if you don't have a hooded eye. And then, without taking more product from the palette, I like to bring what's left around the socket of my eye so that we can frame the eyelids, kind of like that. Alright, next up, we're going to use this brush over here. This is called a domed tapered blending brush. And all around, this is my favorite brush to use for eyeshadows. And we're going to pick essentially a blending shade for the rest of the eye. And I think I'm going to pick that one. All right, nice and light, somewhat natural, let's say. No, it's hard to feel natural when you're wearing makeup, but we try. Because this is a blending shade, we're gonna go and we're gonna essentially knock off the excess from the brush. And then again, starting at the darkest corners, which is the outer corner of the eye, you are going to start blending up towards the brow. But again, we've made a lot of progress in highlighting the brow bone, so we're not going to blend all that much. If you want tricks as to how to blend your eyeshadow very well, the easiest thing that I can recommend, apart from getting the tools, is to have a light hand. Hold the brush from the back, not close to the bristles at all, and you have it in your wrist. You move your wrists, nice, light, controlled motions, not a lot of pressure on the skin at all. You're mostly displacing product rather than forcing it into your skin. You're just gently moving it around. You can have circular motions to really get a good blend in there. And I like to add a little bit over here, at the base of the brows. And then if you really want to emphasize that cat eye, you can take the pigments here at the outer corner and kind of flick it up like that. That's a cool trick. I really love that. And just progressively add a little bit more product each time, a little bit more eyeshadow, and blend until you reach the desired shades, a desired consistency that suits your little desires. Yeah, kind of like that actually. I like that. That's fun. That's cute. Next up, you can kind of do the next steps with the same brush, but I like to use this one here. This is more of a pointed blending brush. This is more dedicated and it's not really meant for applying pigments. So this is essentially a light blending shade, and the one that I like to use is that one right here. A very nice taupey neutral right there. So again, nice and light. We're going to apply just a little bit, knock off the excess. I like to use the side of my table here and go over the upper side of the crease that we mapped out earlier and just gently diffuse it, slowly adding in more color, again, until you get to a spot that you feel nice and comfortable with it. Again, you can focus more of it at the outer corner. That's the darkest corner. That's where it makes sense. Kind of like that, actually. It looks really good. Next up, we're going to do the lid, finally. And I like to use what's called a packer brush here. This is what it looks like. This is not a blending brush at all. This has some very tight bristles. They're grouped closely together and are meant for taking eyeshadow and just pushing it against your face. And my all-time favorite of the highlighters here, I'll show you, is that one right there. So we're gonna take it and we're essentially gonna stamp that highlighter shade onto the lid. You can drag it a little bit. So for this, we're not really knocking off a lot of excess. You can knock off a bit in case you're worried about fallout. Fallout is eyeshadow that falls onto your cheek. That's beautiful, actually. And then to finish it all off, we're going to go back to the dome taper blending brush, and we're going to go back to that transition shade, but we're going to really go lightly with it. See, I'm knocking most of it off. We're going to finish defining this outer corner, and we're going to blend some of it after we put the pigments at the darkest corner. We're going to take some of it, and we're going to drag it onto the lid like that, just ever so slightly, and again bring some back up into the crease. Just like so, actually. Now the next step that I like to do is I like to take a eyeliner pencil, such as this one. This is by Makeup by Mario again, and this is the brown color, and I like to put it in my tear line. And out here, ever so slightly, I'm connecting it to that black that we applied earlier, just like so. And one of the tricks for keeping your eyeliner and your tear line from moving about and disappearing on you is to actually set it with eyeshadow. So generally, a good rule of thumb is powders set creams and liquids. And in this case, I'm going to pick this dark brown color to go with the brown pencil. This is all from the same palette, by the way. And I'm going to take the detail brush right here. This is from earlier. Let me get the black. And I'm going to gently set it in the tear line. Now this is kind of an advanced trick, and I don't expect any beginner to really do it very well. There is such a thing as wearing makeup as a skill, right? Your eyes obviously are going to try to fight you putting product in them, right? So that takes time to wear a nice smoky, smoked out eyeliner look like that. That could take time for your eyes to get used to it. And we're going to take that blending color from earlier on another detail brush. This one is like the previous one, except this one is domed and it fans out a little bit, so it's actually more intended for blending. We're going to go underneath where we have that eyeliner in the tear line. Just going to gently blend in that brown shade. And again, we're following the contours of that cat eye that we put in earlier. And to finish it off for the eyeshadow, we're going to go back to this brush right here. That is our pointed blending brush. And I'm going to go back to that color. And we're going to actually take this, have it ever so slightly an amount of product on this brush. Again, knock off the excess. This is for blending. And go underneath the eye. Again, focus on the outer corner where it's darkest. And drag some of it with a light touch. Just like so. Now we're going to do the eyeliner on the top lid. And I like to use the KVD Beauty tattoo liner. This one is Mad Max Brown, I do believe that's the color. So here is the applicator. Shake it a little bit so it's nice and ready to go. And again, we like to work in the darkest corners and move in. That seems to be the safe option for a beginner if they're unsure about how potent their products are and how to follow certain shapes. That's okay. If you stick to the darkest corners first and move from there, you're generally going to be okay. Although for the inner corner here, you do have to take a bit of a stab at it. And the idea is the line is finished near the tear duct here, and it flares out ever so slightly to become your cat eye. And like that, we have a wing for our cat eye. What I did here was I just defined what we had already done earlier with that black eyeshadow. So we're not reinventing the wheel at all. We're kind of just reinforcing and redefining work that we've done previously. And with that, we have a very beautiful, natural, neutral looking cat eye going on right now. And because I have a flair for the dramatic, what I'm going to do, I'm going to add a cute little bonus step for myself. I'm going to go back to the pencil brush, and that very dark brown powder that I used to set the eyeliner in the tear line, I'm going to come in and define just one more time that outer corner of the eye crease and the eye socket. So I like a nice deep eye look. I love that dramatic, almost diva look. And just ever so slightly bringing in like so. I love this actually. I think this is really, really cute. Poof! Using the magic of time travel, I did to this eye what I had previously done to that eye. And now we're going to move on to some bronzer. Now I do not wish to show you the massacre that is my Hoola bronzer here by Benefit, because it's just been abused over the years, but it is my favorite bronzer. what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take this brush. This is by MAC, and it's meant for blush, but I use it for contouring and bronzer. And I'm going to pick up some bronzer and knock off the excess. That sounds bad, I know. It's because it is. That's such a poor palette. It's been through so much. And we start. And we start moving across. Right underneath that cheekbone and gently across it. Again, we're sticking to where the dark spots of the makeup are, right? So the outer corner, framing the face. And a little bit, we're gonna take a little bit without picking up some more. Underneath the nose, we're gonna connect right there. A little bit here on the jaw. I'm gonna take kind of like an overall powder brush and just really try to knock off a lot of that excess product. And just gently work it out so that it dissipates a little bit. My wild hair can't really do much with it. It just gets caught in the makeup and in the brushes all the time. And now that we've applied some bronzer, I like to go in and set the high points with my concealer with blot powder. This is actually pressed blot powder by MAC. It comes with a handy little applicator. And the shade here is Light. Surprise, surprise. Because I'm pale. Pale as a vampire. Just pick up a little bit on the applicator and put some underneath the eyes, like so. Now I like to get the nose a little bit. Forehead. I use this pressed powder as a fairly neutral highlighter. Then with the excess, I like to knock it off using essentially a highlighter brush like this. This one is actually by Sephora Collection. And then I just knock off the excess blot powder. Kind of like so. Now, blush for me anyways is very much of a optional step, but I do like to wear it sometimes. And for the sake of my audience today, I'm gonna show a little bit of what I do with blush. I'm gonna use this by NARS, and it's in the color Dulce Vita. I'm not good at reading, so do bear with me as I struggle with words here. Again, we're using the same blush brush as earlier, and we're gonna hit up the tops of the cheeks right here, rotating the brush in a circular pattern like that. This is a beautiful color. It really works well with my skin tone. It makes me feel like $1,000,000. For most of these steps, I'm sure you've noticed, I've been knocking off excess product from my brushes. So you don't want a big sploochy mess. Very few steps just require you to go really heavy on something. I like to do a little bit of blush on the forehead, just like so. This is a very 80s move to do it this way. Ooh. Very beautiful, if I do say so myself. You can always go back and take out some of that harshness with powders. Right, now we've gone to the point where I'm going to apply some lipstick. And my lipstick of choice for the soft daytime glam Pontiac vibes here is this lipstick by MAC called Velvet Teddy. It looks a little bit something like this. And I'm going to apply it to the natural shape of my lips. But we're going to overdraw. Just bear with me, I'll show you how to do that. For the lipstick, you follow natural shape of your lips. Next, I like to take a lip pencil. This specific one is again by MAC. I love all MAC lip products. This one is the color Whirl, and this is where I'm going to show you how to overdraw. So you overdraw in the center. I like to overdraw the Cupid's bow, kind of like that. But on the outer corners here, you follow the natural fold of your lips. As you get towards the middle, that's when you can overdraw a little bit. And the same trick works for the bottom. Follow the natural fold of your lips on the outside corners. Get to the middle, you can overdraw a little bit. There, it looks like a nice pouty lip. Next up, I'm gonna set my makeup actually. I'm gonna do this before all the mascara and stuff because I find that it makes the mascara run. Ready? I'm gonna use the setting spray by Morphe again. That's one way to wake up your senses. Just spray yourself with some nice cold fluids. And next up, we've managed to make it to one of the final steps, mascara. This one I'm using is by a company called Lise Watier. And this is your 24 hours glam mascara. Wow, it's like they've made it for me. So, I like to take the applicator, again, starting from the outside corner and working in. This is going to be a theme with me, I feel. We're just going to start from the outside corner and working in. That's just going to be a thing. And then, once you coated the top and the bottoms, you go back to the bottom and you use that opportunity to essentially tease them up ever so slightly. And you can spread them out by wiggling the brush a little bit. Right, we're nice and tight in my eye. I'm gonna show you a little trick here. Now, while I love mascara, it really helps complete an eye look, there's just nothing quite like false lashes. And today I'm going to show you how to apply some false lashes as well as showing you the rest of my face tutorial. So I'm going to use these ones here. They're effortless velour lashes and the style is Wood Eyeliner. So this is a fresh pair of lashes. This is what they look like. And you can't just stick on a lash just like that. I suppose you can, but the prudent thing to do is to actually measure it out on your eye and cut off the excess starting from the outside. Don't cut the inside. So you kind of just place it like so. Well, would you look at that? I was preparing to give you a full demo as to how to shape your lashes properly. And it turns out that for the first time in history, the lashes are actually sized properly for my face. Regardless though, the technique still stands that you should always measure your lashes on your face first before you just go at it with glue. Speaking of glue, this is some rather good stuff by the House of Lashes. Very good lash glue. And I especially like this one because it has a brush applicator. You know, I'm a little bit deluded like that. I'm an artist. I use brushes. So you take that and just apply it along the band. The band is the part that contacts your eye. You want essentially kind of like a thin, hang on, I'll show you. A thin line that resembles kind of like that. If you see a hair in there, just, pick it out. And I'm gonna apply it to my face. The trick is to start and apply the lashes on an angle, just ever so slightly, with the inner corner tight lined against your natural lashes, while the top flares up slightly. Now, it's okay to not get it right on the first try. I have this concave mirror over here, and that's what I use for precision with my lashes. I don't have the right tool for this, but I do use these tweezers to kind of push the inner corner over here against my eye. I use this back end right there to make it sit nice and flat. I push along the band. Again, there's proper tools for this, but it's not one of the ones I've acquired yet. And then you can take your finger on the outside and gently curl them up. Like so. And it makes it look nice and dramatic and catty and feminine. And I love it. I love it so much. And poof, just like that, you can be like me. You can have a beautiful face of makeup. I love this look. This is a go-to daytime look for me. I love this eyeshadow palette. I'll show it for you. It has a bit of an unfortunate name. It makes it sound like one of those adult models, but it's called the Nude Ambitions palette by Morphe. And of course, this is my finished look, including, I'll show this off to you, this cute little black dress. I am also wearing some cute little heels and of course some jewelry. And forgive the chair, it has a little bit of a mind of its own, but I understand that you could have done a million things today, and instead you spent your time hanging out with me, and I'm really appreciative of that. So if you've liked this video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and whatever your little heart desires. And hopefully we'll see you next time for some more makeup tutorials, some more fun content, and until next time, go for your own safety and happiness and in your own light, and always wear a helmet.